Hello, this is David Kozich, Chief Spiritual Officer for the LoveMakers Foundation. We're filming here today from Lake Arrowhead, California, which is where we have our monthly meetups, our spiritual love services. It's also sort of our spiritual headquarters, where we also have retreats and some of our trainings. But Lake Arrowhead has a very special energy to it. That's why Deborah and I decided to put LoveMakers Foundation up here. But today's talk here from Lake Arrowhead is entitled Love Beyond Self. And that's sort of a tricky title, because one of the things that we emphasize is to love yourself, is to be love, which has to do with the self. But you are greater than you think you are. There is more to you than yourself. There is what I would call a super self. What we're trying to do here, what I want you to do, and what the purpose of this talk is, to show you how to go beyond yourself. And how do you do that? You do it with love. Loving yourself helps you go beyond yourself. What I mean by that is we all have a mechanism, a protective mechanism. Some people call it ego. I'll just call it a protective mechanism. I believe in my studies and in my coaching of individuals over the years that your subconscious, your mind, whatever it does it to protect you. So if you're angry, you're basically telling yourself that's the best. Something in your protective mechanism is telling you that's protecting yourself. If you're fearful, you're protecting yourself. Just like when a baby puts his hand on a hot pot, burns itself, you develop a protective mechanism. Of course, little children, they don't have the protective mechanism. That's why they're free to love, free to play. They're not as aware of danger. As you get older in life, you become aware of danger. As you get super older, people around you start to die. There are more people dying. So you get afraid. It's a justified fear. If you have a job, want to start a business, you're afraid that you might go bankrupt because the statistics say businesses might fail. That's fear. You might not want to get in a relationship because you're afraid you might get burned. You say, well, half of all marriages end in divorce, so you're not going to, fall in love or be in love or whatever. Maybe, you're afraid to believe in God because you don't think there's God. Maybe there's a lot of things. Maybe you're fearful. People do what they believe inside is best for themselves. But because of that fear, that protective mode keeps you from meeting your potential. How do you do that? Well, you love yourself unconditionally. Unconditionally. Alan Cohen, the writer, says to love yourself right now. Just love yourself as you are. Give yourself to heaven. So by loving yourself, you give yourself to heaven. He goes on to say, don't wait until you die. If you wait until you die, you're going to die. If you love, you will live now. Loving is living. As I mentioned, you are greater than yourself. Love is greater than you can imagine. Being love, loving yourself, giving yourself, and living yourself unconditionally is great. Will bring something that's greater than you can imagine in your life. But to do that, you have to love yourself unconditionally. That means you can't afford to judge yourself. You can observe what's happening in your life. You can think rationally, but love yourself unconditionally. Don't judge yourself. Don't limit yourself. Believe in yourself 100%. Don't worry about others think. Do right. Be kind. Be compassionate. Love yourself unconditionally. If you don't, who will? Maybe God, maybe a spouse, who knows? But love yourself unconditionally. By eliminating fear and loving yourself unconditionally, the path to love, the path to greatness, the path to wealth, the path to everything will open up to you. The path to heaven will open up to you because there are no obstacles left. So what happens in this dimension, what happens to you, whether you get laid off, whether you get dumped by your girlfriend or boyfriend, whether you drop out of school, it's not going to matter in the sense that it's not going to prevent you from doing what it is you love to do. So love yourself unconditionally, because there'll be no fear. There's nothing to be afraid of in this dimension. Nothing. Steve Jobs, the deceased former owner of Apple, gave a speech at Stanford. I think it was in 2005. I urge you all to read that speech. It's a great speech. It was a speech at a graduation. And he had been fired. He talks about 3 things in his life. He talks about having faith and about loving what you do. But he had been fired from Apple. And, when something bad happens to you, because he had helped found Apple, of course, Apple Computer, what happens is, you take it out on yourself. But he was able to overcome that. What did he do? He went out and started a couple of new companies, including Pixar, which of course is a very famous, very powerful company, which first produced Toy Story, and is produces many animated features. But the key is, from his heart, he said, "Have faith, don't give up." But that's because if you love what you do, you are going to find greatness. Have the courage to find your heart and use your intuition, is what Steve Jobs said. He's living proof of that. That's what he did. That's what you can do. If you're living love and unconditional love to yourself, and you're loving life, and you're loving what you do, and you find something that you love, something that's greater than yourself, something that's greater than your ego, something that's greater than your own personal self-interest, you will find amazing happiness. And that's what LoveMakers here, that's what we try and do, is we help try to find you happiness, help yourself find happiness, help yourself to find the happiness right here. We do that by our prayer work. We do that by our spiritual counseling, our spiritual coaching. We do it by our monthly love meetings. We do it by our writings. We do it by these videos. So tune in to our LoveMakers Foundation channel. Call us, please, at 877-711-0850 for some spiritual counseling, for some love counseling, for some coaching. Call us. Come to one of our meetups. Listen to these videos. Become a love maker. For a very small cost, you can become a love maker, which is a person who commits themselves to love in this world. You commit yourself to love, and you become a lifetime member of the LoveMakers Foundation. You actually become a love maker. That'll help you become a trainer if you decide. So you're going to be a walking love maker. To give love, share love, be love, teach love, live love each and every second of your lives. That's what love makers are, just a commitment to that. And that's why we want you to become a love maker. So call us, go to our beautiful new website. I believe it's LoveMakersFoundation.com. It's all there. But call us. Again, that's 877-711-0850. And spread the word of love. Remember, love is the way. Thank you.